And the one thing that I know of children, especially at young ages, is that their view of the world is very different from our adult view. Like oftentimes when we're trained as teachers, we're trained to make our language a little bit easier to understand. And even then the kids still might not understand what we're saying because they just see and their vocal ability, everything is so different. And when I was thinking about just what children are like, I just think that they just have that innocent perspective, right? Like they see the world in a completely good light. They see the goodness in people. And usually, our job is to help manage a little bit and, teach them how to share, or teach them how to learn socially what certain principles they have to learn to get along with people. But when I've watched my kids playing with other children, they don't look for all of the societal things that we look for. They don't look for all the cultural things that we try to teach them. They just innately want to play. They just want to play with the closest kid that's next to them, or they want to just get along or make friends or be involved, or they learn that, if their friend's not feeling good, they feel bad. And I was thinking about this experience not too long ago, but after my second child, I did not feel like myself. I was in a gutter. I physically was not in the best shape of my life. I mentally was not in a good place. And there were multiple times where I was crying. And my son, who was probably about 18 months, 2 years old at the time, he was very well spoken as a child. It was very confusing sometimes because I was like, how are you talking so well? You're talking like an adult and you're only like this young. But there was a time where I just was sitting there crying, and he came up to me and he was like, Mom, why are you crying? And I was like, well, I just don't feel like myself. I just don't feel very pretty today. And he came over and gave me a hug and was like, but I think you're pretty. And my brain just kind of went like, of course I started crying more because I'm like an emotional mom. I just started bawling even harder. But this realization just kind of kicked in my head of, why do I feel the need to perform for everybody else? Right? Why do I feel the need to have all of this for everybody else? And this little child who's very young, like he has no perception of beauty, but he's like, but mom, you're beautiful to me. And I think that changed like my whole perception, not just of myself, but what I want to become for my children. Because I think children have this very, very, they see the best in everybody, even when you don't see the best in yourself.